Fear is everywhere. BBC reports from Mexican City turned into war zone by drug cartel feud. Mexico's president has praised the special forces for bringing down the country's most wanted man, drug lord Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes. Oseguera, better known as El Mencho, died in custody on Sunday, shortly after being captured amid a bloody firefight in Jalisco. But as the BBC's Quentin Sommerville found in another Mexican cartel hotspot, Culiacán in northern Sinaloa state, the vacuum left by the removal of a powerful cartel leader can trigger a surge in violence as warring factions battle for control. Warning: this article contains graphic accounts of cartel violence which readers may find upsetting. The fear is everywhere and the fear is constant, said paramedic Héctor Torres, 53, from the front seat of the ambulance in Culiacán. We had just come from the scene of a shooting inside a garage in the city center. The owner was lying dead in his office, blood spreading across the white-tiled floor. As Héctor and the other paramedic, Julio César Vega, 28, entered the premises, a woman ran in wailing. She was the man's wife, but there was nothing to be done. Héctor checked for vitals and then placed a paper blanket over the corpse. For the last year and a half, the Sinaloa cartel, one of the world's largest and most feared drug gangs, has been at war with itself, after the son of one of its leaders betrayed another. The removal of that cartel leader, Ismael El Mayo Zambada, who is now in prison in the US, has wrought mayhem across Sinaloa and provides a warning of the dangers facing the country. Héctor said the violence in Culiacán had never been so bad or gone on for so long. Last year, their number of call-outs increased by over 70. But in the week I spent with Héctor and Julio, almost every incident they responded to ended the same way, with a dead body in a building or by the side of the road, and grief-stricken relatives nearby asking for answers. Few cartel victims survive, and nowhere is safe. Schools, hospitals, and even funerals have been attacked. Sinaloa cartel was like a family. Everyone was united in a single cartel. They were friends, they ate at the same table, Héctor explained. They were like brothers, parents, uncles, sisters, and suddenly they were fighting and locked in a deadly feud, he said. That family business was built into a billion-dollar enterprise producing the deadly drug fentanyl and flooding U.S. streets with opioids which have cost tens of thousands of lives. U.S. President Donald Trump declared the cartel, and others, terrorist organizations, and labeled fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. He's threatened Mexico with direct military action if it doesn't bring the drug and the traffickers under control. Both Héctor and Julio were wearing body armor, 14 kilograms of Kevlar and armor plate. Julio said it was essential. We don't know if the people responsible for the attacks are still at the scene or if they completed their objective and suddenly disappeared. So we run the risk of being caught in the crossfire of an attack and getting injured. The sun was beginning to set as we drove back to the paramedic base, and a city that once came alive at night would soon be deserted. Traffic was slow. The Mexican government has sent thousands of troops to Sinaloa, and they'd set up checkpoints on most of the roads. It turned out that when the garage owner was killed, 3 men were kidnapped from the premises at the same time. The heavily armed soldiers and Marines were checking cars for any sign of them. Warning: the following paragraphs contain descriptions of violence and torture which readers may find upsetting. Kidnapping in Culiacán can be a fate worse than death. Earlier in the week, a body had been found dumped on the pavement outside one of the main shopping malls. From the state of the victim's corpse, it was clear he'd been tortured. His body was intact, but the skull had been flayed and the eyes removed. A sign was left with the corpse, in large lettering, a message from one cartel faction to another. It accused the dead man of being a traitor and came with a warning: we are coming for the rest of you. Culiacán is a prosperous city, full of shopping malls, neat parks, and fancy car dealerships. Outside the mall, a man in black cycling gear stopped in the rush hour traffic to stare as the police placed the remains of the man into a body bag. The next day, the body of another victim mutilated in the same way was left by the main road heading north outside of the city. When the forensic team lifted the accompanying sign, it was difficult to read. Blood ran down its surface and puddled in the gravel verge. At each new crime scene, I would meet Ernesto Martinez, who has been reporting on the violence here for 27 years. A 16-year-old boy had been shot dead in the city's San Rafael neighborhood. Emmanuel Alexander's legs were still tangled in his bike frame as the police marked out the more than a dozen bullet casings around his body. Martinez explained that there used to be more police officers, there were more soldiers, there was more security. You'd find a checkpoint on every corner, and yet the homicides continued. They didn't decrease, they remained at an average of 5 or 6 homicides a day. And the same trend continues. So what might end the violence? I met one of the Sinaloa factions to ask that question. Before the meeting, I was told not to bring my phone, nor any tracking devices. They are vicious criminals, who show Lee.